Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Learn why more and more advisors are selling more and more annuities than ever before. Extra, extra, read all about it. Learn why advisors hate commissions, but they love charging fees on your money. Extra, extra.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, nationally recognized retirement specialist and six-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
Last week on the Worry-Free Retirement, we discussed this idea of why Wall Street, who for years made it perfectly clear their hatred of annuities, now suddenly is singing a different tune, one that praises the main feature of annuities, which is the ability to provide a guaranteed income for the rest of a saver's life. As with all of life's great mysteries, this surprising transition from hate to love can only be explained in one way: just follow the money. As I've always stated to my staff on multiple occasions, it's not that the Wall Street folks actually hate annuities, but rather the way in which they've always been paid to sell them. That is, until now. You see, with annuities traditionally paying the advisor a one-time commission to sell them, this form of payment did not fit the recurring fee-based model from Wall Street, a compensation model they've enjoyed for years. So it truly begs the question when considering the services of any advisor. Should you, as the consumer, choose to work with an advisor who makes money on your money by receiving a one-time commission, or trust your money and your retirement to an advisor who charges a recurring fee each year to manage it? Well, let's follow the money to find out. Well, welcome, folks, to the Worry-Free Retirement, and yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, retirement planning specialist and fiduciary Tony Walker. And before we continue with Why Wall Street Hates Commissions, Part 2, let me introduce the two folks who I dearly love putting on this show each week: America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orender, and Louisville, Kentucky's most laid-back graphics artist, Mr. Derek Hudson. Let's start by going back to the year 1978 with the creation of the 401k plan. A time in life of financial advisors where getting paid a one-time commission to handle other people's money was commonplace. Yet, with millions of Americans dumping smaller contributions into their employer-sponsored 401k plans, Wall Street figured out a better way to make money on other people's money: a recurring fee that would be based on how much money the saver had invested with them, or what we in the industry call assets under management, or simply AUM. Realizing that Wall Street could make a whole lot more consistent income from other people's money by charging fees, the form of compensation that had previously been used for centuries, commissions, now became the most hated form of payments for services as AUM grew exponentially for the folks on Wall Street. In other words, the reason Wall Street always hated annuities is because the one-time commission they paid did not fit the recurring AUM fee model they now enjoyed. That is, until recently, when insurance companies began designing annuities that Wall Street could charge fees on, and thus the hatred we saw from Wall Street over annuities now has turned into a love fest for them. So is an annuity now something a saver should consider without paying a commission, or go with the annuity that charges the annual recurring fee? Well, as you will soon learn, we at Tony Walker Financial have cracked the code on this one, creating a means for the saver to enjoy paying us with the lowest fees in the industry on the investments we manage, while at the same time letting the insurance company pay us our one-time commission on it so that it is no out-of-pocket to you. So stay tuned as we learn why Wall Street hates commissions but loves fees by following the money. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back. Who can you trust? It's one of the most important decisions you'll have to make. Question is, are you ready? Well, we're here to help at Tony Walker Financial. You know, we care more about you than we do your money, and we have over 2,000 happy clients and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau to prove it. Rolling over a 401k, confused about Social Security, maybe you're afraid of running out of money. Learn how to use and enjoy and protect your hard-earned money. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started. Our Tony in the Trenches comes to us from Kyle in Louisville, Kentucky, who asks the following. Tony, I noticed my 401k statement has a section with turning my 401k into a guaranteed lifetime income at retirement. Why am I seeing this now, and how can Wall Street guarantee a lifetime income? Is this something new that they are offering? Okay, well, let's kind of take a look at this and see what Kyle's talking about. Now, this is a typical statement you might receive on a 401k plan, and I'm noticing this more and more from the large custodians who manage the 401k plan, something I haven't seen before until recently. Take a look at this. As we can see here, the account balance for this particular 401k plan is $467,000. Now, this is the balance that is invested in the stock market or bonds or stable value or whatever. That's the true value of the 401k plan. But now, anticipating that people are rolling over, I mean, we've got article after article where people are starting to roll billions of dollars of money from these 401k plans into annuities to kind of stave off that money leaving, remember, follow the money, the financial institution holding onto the money, the 401k. Look at what they're starting to do now. They're showing that you could take that money, and in this example, it's called a single life annuity. Yep, using that word annuity. You could dump that money into their product through an annuity, and it would pay this particular person $2,844 a month. And you might be looking at that going, well, that's for the life of the participant. What if I were married and wanted to leave some money to my spouse? Well, they can do that too. The next one shows the monthly payment at $67, but notice it says joint with 100% survivor. That means if this person dies, the other spouse, they're going to get less money, but the other spouse will receive this income for the rest of their life. Okay, so let's take a look at some articles supporting this notion I've got that more and more people in the financial world are loving these products called annuities. And in fact, our Cracker Jack staff of Derek and Aaron have come up with plenty of articles. Take this one we covered last week. I love this. This young lady who's a wealth manager says that she was actually a former annuity hater. I mean, she comes right out and admits it. Because now, why does she sell them? Because of the commission-free annuities. She said down here, it's a great way for people to bring some certainty into their lives. Now again, the problem I have with articles like this, here's an advisor that's never sold annuities that she knows brings certainty to the lives of her clients, but she doesn't want to sell them apparently because they don't pay commissions. I mean, because they pay commissions, now they're paying fees, she's all on board. Next article, look at this one. Are advisors warming up to annuities? And it even states that a lot of advisors, because of the, quote, high commissions, not all annuities pay high commissions, folks, but because of the high commissions and illiquidity, not all annuities are illiquid if you know how to use them properly, and significant fees, not all annuities have fees. See, this is all the miscommunication and information out there that's just incorrect in many cases. But what they're saying is, many fiduciaries are still reluctant to sell them. All right, another article is interesting here. Advisors plan more annuity recommendations since the pandemic. Now, quite frankly, I don't know what the pandemic has to do with anything. I mean, I've been using annuities for 20 years, and these products are wonderful for retirement planning. And it mentions that, look at that, many registered investment advisors, that's fiduciaries, have shunned annuities. So Tony, you say, what's the explanation for this love affair with annuities and charging fees? Well, as we said, you got to follow the money. And one way we do that, one of my mentors in the past, Bob Castellone, came up with something called the 4 rules of financial institutions. Because what happens is once you learn how the financial world works and how they have to have your money to make money on your money and stay in business, they follow these 4 rules. Number 1, the financial world wants to convince you to give them your money. Let's think about a 401k plan. Yeah, it's a great way to save for retirement, so you just sign up and give them your money. Pretty easy. Number 2, they want to convince you to give it to them on a regular basis. Again, take the 401k plan. You're putting in monthly, it's going in sometimes for 10, 20, 30 years, however long you work. The financial world, holding on to that money until you retire, knows that money's coming in on a regular basis. If they're charging fees on it, it's a bonanza for them. Number 3, they would like to hold on to this for as long as possible. You say, well, that doesn't even make sense. Well, sure it does. Let's pick on the 401k plan again. Number 1, if you're not terminated from employment or at least age 59 and a half, you can't even touch the darn thing. But then many of you, when you retire, you're afraid to spend it because of taxes. So then Wall Street or whoever's managing the 401k or the IRA or wherever you've rolled it over to keeps making these recurring fees. See how this is working? And then finally, I know you're not going to believe this, they hope to never give it back to you. It's interesting that they've increased these minimum distribution rules, which used to be 70 and a half to 73, and many of you have fallen into this trap of thinking it's a good thing to put off taking the money. Well, folks, you've got to understand something. We in the money business, if we hold on to your money and continue to hold on to it, especially if we're charging fees, we're going to continue to make more and more money on your money. It's that simple. But let's play along with the one-time commissions. And folks, quite frankly, there is a problem with these commissions and some of these commissions that are paid to people that I refer to as annuity peddlers. Because here's the thing, it is not against the law for someone to sell you an annuity, earn a big commission, and then walk away and never service the annuity again. So to speak more on this whole dilemma and how we at Tony Walker Financial are seeing more and more annuity peddlers selling annuities to people, earning a commission, and then never servicing the sale, let's go to our own fellow fiduciary in Bowling Green, Kentucky, Miss Heather Hughes.
Well, Tony, you've always said that Wall Street, if they could figure out a way to make money off of annuities without charging commissions, they would. And it looks like it's come to that. What do you think?
You know, Heather, I think you're right, and today's show has focused on several articles that deal with this very issue. And although we at Tony Walker Financial earn our keep from both charging recurring fees on investments and earning a one-time commission from the sale of annuities, what can be the problem when someone rushes out and buys an annuity from an advisor who works strictly on a commission basis and possibly is not going to service that annuity?
Well, absolutely. You know, there's been a problem with that kind of industry-wide for a while. You know, these commissions can be pretty good. So on a longer term contract, you know, even up to 12 or 14 years, you'll see a 7 or 8, even 9% commission given to the advisor that sells those. But the sad thing is they're not under any obligation to service that 14-year commitment. Once the money's kind of run out, you know, they don't necessarily have to service that for the client. Problem is, a lot of times clients don't understand how to use those. I think that's how we're different. You know, we build out plans to incorporate the annuity usage into their retirement game plan. And so we're always there throughout the length of retirement on how to best utilize and deploy the annuities when they're needed.
So Heather, if someone is thinking of buying an annuity, please tell them about our free service that offers a second opinion on annuities so they possibly won't get stuck in the wrong type.
Oh, absolutely. You know, we are happy to give second opinions and things of that nature. Annuities are definitely not one size fits all, and it can be tempting to chase those big bonuses that might be out there. But in reality is that might not be the best product for the client.
So which is it? Should you invest in things that pay the advisor a recurring fee or products that pay the advisor a one-time commission? Well, as you'll soon find out, while how an advisor gets paid is important for the consumer to understand, it's not near as important as the consumer understanding where the money is invested and how much access and protection they will have. So stay tuned, because when I return, I'll share with you our brand new classification of assets and how you can follow the money to a worry-free retirement. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back. You've worked hard your entire life. Now, let us work hard for you. My name is Tony Walker, and if you're looking for a game plan that can provide you peace of mind, look no further. Whether it's rolling over your 401k plan, reducing risk, or just setting up a plan that includes mailbox money for life, we're here to help. To speak with me at no cost or obligation, just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and click on that Let's Get Started button or call the number on your screen. We look forward to talking with you soon. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. And before we share with you the 4 asset classes all savers must consider in retirement and how to determine which annuity might be right for you in planning for a worry-free retirement, I wanted to announce some exciting news at Tony Walker Financial in our never-ending quest to educate savers about our process and how they can better navigate this thing called retirement. And with us to do just that is my favorite son-in-law and fellow fiduciary, Trey Jurgens. So Trey, in the past, we've always had a YouTube channel, but certainly we're taking great pains to revamp it and bring it up into the 21st century. Tell us some of the things we've been doing.
Yeah, well, we've had a good problem, if you will. We have so much video content that we've housed both on the website and on YouTube, and we've really gotten to a point where we have so many clips and such good editing to be able to take these shorter clips from the show and different clips that we've put together for our viewers and put them on the YouTube channel. So we've done a really good job of categorizing and making them a lot more easily digestible and able to watch on the YouTube channel.
And how can someone gain access to all of this free content?
Yeah, easiest thing to do is just go to youtube.com and then search Tony Walker Financial. And once you get to that page, you can actually click on the subscribe button in red, and there's a little notifications drop down. If you set a notification every time we upload a new video, you'll get an email to be able to watch it.
Last week on the Worry-Free Retirement, we briefly introduced what I call the 4 main asset classes of retirement. Today, I want to show you how you can follow the money to be sure that you are getting the most of your investments and that the fees and commissions charged by any advisor handling your money are fair for you, while at the same time making sure that you have access to your money and the protection and guarantees that only annuities can provide so you don't one day run out. A feeling we like to call around the office. So let's take a look at these 4 asset classes. The first one we refer to as the brokerage account. Now, actually at Tony Walker Financial, our brokerage accounts are handled through Charles Schwab. Charles Schwab is a brokerage firm. This is where we get our stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, bank CDs, etc. Schwab is kind of like the supermarket where we go buy all the goods and services for you. Then we bring those back to you and then we arrange them according to your game plan. The Schwab program, again, provides us access to our money so that you can have access to it. In most cases, the Schwab platform gives us the ability to get you money on a recurring basis, or if you need to make one-time deposits into your checking account, we handle all of those details. And again, the cost of this is only 0.8% to do everything. That's about half what most money managers charge. Now, the second asset class that usually fits in with most of our game plans is called short-term asset classes. Now, this could be anything from 5 years or less in terms of the term of the surrender. In most cases, we use something called short-term fixed accumulation annuities. And again, notice these are annuities that have surrender penalties of 5 years or less, meaning if you bail out of the annuity during before the 5th year, you're going to incur some penalties. If you keep it longer than 5 years, if you take the money out of the annuities, there are no penalties whatsoever. Very good asset class when building out an income plan. The third form of asset class is long-term fixed accumulation annuities. Again, we don't do variable annuities. We don't take a lot of risk. A lot of times these don't even have any fees. These are longer term, generally 5 to 10 year surrender penalties, and they're there to build a longer base. Usually the insurance companies pay what's called higher interest or higher participation rates. So sometimes we'll build that into the plan. And again, with this type of annuity, you can take out 10% for access, penalty-free every year if you need it. And then finally, the fourth, my favorite,
mailbox money,
is what we call the income annuity. Now, the income annuity is sort of like we saw earlier, where the 401ks are starting to provide annuities. Now, they're offering something called single premium immediate annuities, which when you set those up, you can't change them. And generally, these large custodians are putting those on the front end. With our planning process, we like to put the income annuities usually on the back end when we get more into what I call the second half of life. But these income annuities are awesome because you can still take 10% penalty-free withdrawals out before you start the income, but you can start the income anytime you like. You can wait till later on in retirement or start it right away. So very, very flexible tools. So then you say, well, Tony, how does this fit into what you do? This is the beauty of the worry-free split IRA concept. So if you're sitting there saying, Tony, I don't have anybody watching over my stuff like this. They sure aren't encouraging me to spend my money. And now I know why. Because if I spend the money and take it from them, that's less money for them. Well, folks, as a fiduciary, we are here to work in your best interest, and we want to do that right now. Why don't you do something right now? Just take advantage of something we call the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call. You can do that by simply logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, clicking on that Let's Get Started button, or if you'd like, you can simply call the number on your screen. Do it now, TonyWalkerFinancial.com, or give us a call. Well, when I return, we're going to talk about an interesting concept in the Bible. Can you actually love money and love God at the same time? Well, the answer to that equation is coming up in a second, but I got to get me a cup of coffee for this one. I'll be right back. With the uncertainty of the stock market, our nation's debt spiraling out of control, and inflation running rampant, now may be the best time to consider moving your 401k to safer territory. My name is Tony Walker, and for over 38 years I've made it my life's mission to help savers worry less about money, and I want to help you too. To speak with me at no cost or obligation, why don't you log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or simply call the toll-free number on your screen.
Did you know that you can watch the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money anytime you want? The show's called The WorryFree Retirement. It's hosted by Tony Walker, and it's available on YouTube. All you got to do is go to youtube.com and right there in the search bar, type in Tony Walker Financial, and you'll see Tony's smiling face. Click on that and you're going to find all types of video content. Again, that's youtube.com, Tony Walker Financial.
Our discussion today has focused on two human emotions that stand polar opposite to one another: love and hate. And more specifically, the confusing opinions coming from the financial world about this age-old product called an annuity. As we have witnessed for years, many advisors vehemently hated these annuities, while others, such as yours truly, have always loved them. And with all discussions involving hate and love and all these relationships, one thing is for sure: love and hate definitely do not make good traveling companions. The two, well, they just don't go together. Which is actually not the end of the world when it comes to our money and whether you're going to pay an advisor a recurring fee or pay them a one-time commission. I mean, what if one advisor hates commissions while the other one does not? Or whether one advisor hates annuities and another tends to be in love with them. That's just human nature, that we are not all going to love and hate the same things. And as we've seen, even the most vehement hatred for something can quickly turn to love when we, of course, follow the money. Yet as serious as the love-hate relationship is over whether to purchase an annuity or not, it pales in comparison to the consequences of trying to love both God and money at the same time. Look at what 1 Timothy 6:10 and 11 says about this. It basically says, "For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. By craving it, some have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many sorrows." In Watchman Nee's masterful work, Love Not the World, Nee says this: "The character of money is evil, and sometimes men will do evil things to get it. If anything can lead us astray from God," Nee says, "money will." Jesus warns of this practice of trying to love both God and money at the same time, where in Matthew 6:24 he says there's no way to love both. In fact, Jesus says you'll end up hating one over the other. The Apostle Paul in Romans 12:2 tells us not to love the world by conforming to it, but rather, Paul says, to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And finally, one of my favorite verses of Scripture on the notion that we can enjoy both loving God and loving money, it's found in 1 John 2:15, which basically explains what happens when you and I follow the money. So, Tony, you ask, I get the part about not letting the money get in the way of my relationship to God, but are you saying that we're not supposed to be good stewards of our money and plan for our future? Well, of course not. That is not what I'm saying at all. For sure, we are all in need of planning for the future and being responsible with our money. What I'm simply reminding you and I of is this biblical truth. If our main objective is to always follow the money, we will soon drift away from following God. It's a serious situation to find oneself in, and as I've seen in my own walk, one that must be on guard against. In fact, that might be you right now, so obsessed with money and the worries of the world that you don't hear nor care to hear the voice of God in your life any longer. Well, if that's you, in the late words of my late great father, here's my advice.
Just slow down.
That's right. Slow down. Sit down, sit still, and grab your Bible and maybe start with reading John 3:16. Where there you'll be reminded of where true love lies and who is the source of that love. Be reminded that this money is merely a tool to be used and enjoyed during this temporary thing we call life. Know that the love of God gives you and I something the world cannot give us, and that's eternal hope. Rest in that fact alone and walk by faith, and I assure you, the worries over money and the things of this world will start to look less and less significant. And that, my friend, is some good news you can follow all the way to the bank. Amen? Well, how about you? Assuming you're retired, retiring soon, or maybe just struggling with where to invest your life savings and who to trust with it, I would love to speak with you by phone, and there's no obligation or cost to do so. We call this the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call. And here's how easy it is for you and I to find out more about our retirement planning services here at Tony Walker Financial. First, you can log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. And there you'll see two buttons. One, you can click the red button if you'd like to schedule your free fiduciary phone call, or if you think you've got a pressing matter and would like to meet right away, just click on that Let's Get Started button. Of course, you can always just call the number on your screen, and we'll be happy to set that appointment up to talk by phone at no obligation to you. Then, after we speak by phone, if it merits, I will be happy to meet with you. That's right, the owner of the company with nearly 40 years of experience in meeting with over 15,000 savers, Tony Walker. I'll meet with you in person at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. So do it now. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or give us a call anytime. Well, we hope you've enjoyed today's program. Next week, we've got an interesting program scheduled for you. But you remember, between now and then, if all else fails, you be worry-free and make it a good one.